Game communities can be very passionate about optimization, and when it comes to trying out different builds, certain ideas will be largely disliked, if not downright hated. But not every infamous build deserves that hate. In fact, some of them have hidden potential, and we're going to explore them today because I'm Sai for WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 hated video game builds that are secretly really good. Number 10, Deprived, Dark Souls. The Deprived is a special class in Dark Souls that starts with next to no equipment and all of its stats set to 11. For this reason, it gets a pretty bad rap among beginner players who see it as a bad kind of joke. This reputation, however, is unfounded, as the Deprived is genuinely one of the best classes in the game, especially for new fans of the Dark Souls series. At first glance, the Deprived's lack of, well, everything looks quite unappealing, seeing how the rest of the classes get good starting equipment and stat buffs. However, in reality, your lack of things provides a great opportunity. Because the Deprived starting stats are distributed equally, the class can be built out however you want. This freedom doesn't only mean that your Deprived character can match the power level of other classes, but also it has the potential to outgrow them. The open-ended design of the Deprived is especially good for beginner players who may struggle to wrap their heads around other pre-built classes and would rather experiment with what the game has to offer. It's the most liberating experience in the game, and not just because your character is running around naked. Number 9, Slug B, FTL Faster Than Light. Faster Than Light is a game in which you control a Federation spaceship as it tries to stop an invading rebel force from destroying your faction. To aid you in this, the game offers a wide range of unlockable ships, each possessing a different type and configuration, and let's just say some of them are more liked than others. The Slug B, also known as the Stormwalker, is a widely despised ship due to it being a boarding ship without a proper med bay and with a crew consisting of squishy and easy to kill slugs. The ship seems to be designed in the most counterintuitive way, which leads to a lot of catastrophic runs, and yet with the right strategy, Slug B can be one of the most effective ships in the game. The main gripe that people have with the ship's lack of medbay is offset by the ship's healing burst weapon, which when fired at your own vessel can patch your crewmates up faster than any medbay could. Combine this with a good weapon or a mind control station and you'll have a good ship with an efficient early heal and good boarding potential. You know what they say, once you go slug, you never go back. Number 8, Luck Build, Fallout New Vegas. Every stat in your special attributes in Fallout New Vegas is valuable in its own way, although some of the game's fans would say maxing out one of them, luck, is completely pointless. After all, increasing one attribute to 10 means you won't have a lot of points to distribute among the others. Also, whereas other maxed out skills can be pretty useful in combat, the only thing luck seems to be good at is breaking bank at the New Vegas casinos before they all throw you out. That's at least at first glance. Because contrary to popular belief, luck is actually quite a versatile attribute, and when combined with a little bit of gunplay, it can even become a deadly combat skill. You see, luck doesn't just make you roll better at said casinos, it also increases your chances for a critical hit. If you add some perks that give you more VATS points and better damage with handguns, your luck will allow you to pulverize any group of enemies in the game without even having to properly aim the weapon. You needn't worry about picking up anything more than a handgun. If you put everything into this stat, you'll become deadly with whatever you use. And plus, you get to keep all of that ill-gotten gains from gambling, so it's good to be lucky. Number 7, Harpies, Total War Warhammer 3. Despite the idea of flying infantry units sounding pretty amazing, in the case of Total War Warhammer 3, they leave a lot to be desired. Flying units overall have a reputation for being extremely weak, finicky, and quick to break under the slightest bit of pressure. Of all the flying units, Harpies are probably the most despised by Warhammer's community, and yet there's one faction that can turn these freaky creatures into a genuinely powerful army in its own right. The Dark Elves' Thousand Moors, ruled by the legendary beast lord Acast, features several unlockable bonuses for beast and monster units, including Harpies. All of these buffs, combined with the right lord perks, can boost the Harpies' attack, defense, and speed, so they'll be able to take on any early game army with ease. Best of all, one of Acast's faction's perks even removes all upkeep costs for Harpies, so you can just spam full Harpy armies free of charge. This makes him an objectively good pick for an early game army, as you'll want to expand your economy and not worry about military spending. Fly, my pretties, fly. Number 6, Illusion, the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. When it comes to magic in Skyrim, the most popular domains are the flashiest ones. Most mage players choose builds that either centre on the destruction or the conjuration schools, as they allow them to dish out a lot of damage or summon powerful creatures to fight for them in combat. Comparably, the School of Illusion, focused on altering your enemy's perception, is frequently dismissed, but if you combine it with the sneak skill, illusion magic is easily one of the best, if not the best, school of magic. You see, the illusion school's calm and pacify spells allow you to turn any hostile creature friendly. They won't fight for you, but they will cease to attack, meaning that whenever you cast calm spells, you can just move behind their back and get a free sneak attack, dealing a tremendous amount of damage. With enough magicka and perks to improve the calm spell's capabilities, you can turn any battlefield into a friendly gathering and then put a knife to everyone's throats. Number 5, Shuckle, Pokémon. Shuckle is both a meme and an object of ridicule among Pokémon players. The Pokémon has the highest defense stats in the game, making it an impenetrable fortress, but it also has one of the lowest attack values in the game, which means it can't dish out any considerable damage from behind its shell. Now, Shuckle itself isn't necessarily a build, but rather your whole Pokémon team is, and you only get a maximum of 6 slots, so having Shuckle on your team is, in most trainers' eyes, a waste. However, its peculiar disposition has the potential to turn it into the most valuable Pokémon on your team. Thanks to its incredible defense, Shuckle can tank pretty much every hit, including the ones that would instantly knock out your other party members. If you combine it with some attacks that deal damage over time, such as poison or burn inflicting moves, you can use them with Shuckle or another Pokémon. And then Shuckle can simply wait until the built up damage eats its enemies alive. Just make sure to improve Shuckle's health and healing with HP buffs and health restoring items like leftovers so that it can tank even more hits. And your team will be well on their way to becoming masters of the Pokémon War of Attrition. Number 4, Summoner, the Elder Scrolls Online. There are plenty of debates within the Elder Scrolls Online community concerning who has the best DPS class in the game. The choice usually falls between the Nightblade and the Sorcerer, although most fans would never be caught including the Sorcerer's summoning specialization in this comparison, as the general consensus is that it's the weakest spellcasting subclass. The Summoner's ability to summon minions seems fun, but it doesn't deal nearly as much damage as the Storm Calling Tree, and unlike Dark Magic, it doesn't provide any useful buffs to your allies. For this reason, Summoners are the laughingstock of the Sorcerers. Ha 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 ha! But that being said, they're secretly one of the only few classes that can solo dungeons. Yes, thanks to their merry band of spawnable Daedra, Summoners can technically act as a one-player party, providing their own tank, healer, and DPS. Plenty of Summoners have proven that they can clear entire dungeons and defeat powerful bosses using only their own powers and a little bit of strategic thinking. With a class like that, you can play ESO as if it were a single-player game. Number 3, the Balanced Druid, World of Warcraft. Balanced Druids are considered something of a meme within World of Warcraft's community, especially among the other Druids. They're seen as the odd kids who want so much to stick out, they choose to turn themselves into a more terrible version of other spellcaster classes, instead of the typical shape-shifting or healing Druids that serve an actual purpose on the battlefield. Except this isn't true. Balanced Druids can prove incredibly useful in a variety of different scenarios, and they even have their own special role to fulfill. The Balanced Talent Tree allows Druids to cast spells related to the cosmic power of the stars, and one of these spells, Starfall, is an especially powerful tool for dealing damage and crowd control. The spell is an area of effect attack that is guaranteed to kill any regular NPC that stays in its wake, making it perfect for PvE questing and PvP combat such as dueling and arena fighting. When you combine it with summonable treants, which will keep your AI and human enemies at bay, you can unload a galaxy's worth of stars upon them and guarantee that nothing will survive your flashy druid magic. Number 2, the Cleric, Baldur's Gate 3. According to popularity polls and player-based statistics, Baldur's Gate 3's least popular class is Cleric, and this makes sense because Clerics just don't sound exciting on the surface, and also you get one joining your team right at the start of the game. But what most Baldur's Gate 3 players don't realise is that there's no such thing as too many Clerics. Despite its lack of popularity, the Cleric class is secretly one of the most versatile and fleshed out professions in the game. It features 7 different subclasses which, unlike the subclasses of other roles, aren't just variations of their respective overall classes, but can fulfill a wide range of duties. For example, the Life Domain Cleric is your typical healer, but the War Domain one can serve as a bulky frontline tank, while the Tempest Cleric gets to be a God's Blessed Sorcerer, wielding powerful and destructive spells from a safe distance. Each domain grants amazing bonuses in its own respective field, which is why you could easily compose a team entirely out of clerics and have it fill out all the necessary roles of the team just as well, if not better, than a regular party. So to all the people that scoffed and went, 4 white mages? It'll never work. Well, shows what you know. And number 1, Axii build, The Witcher 3. The Witcher signs are some of the most powerful abilities at your disposal in Witcher 3, Whirl Attack obviously excluded. These magical powers allow you to set your enemies on fire, deflect their attacks, trap them in runes, or blast them away with an invisible force. And then there's Axii. Axii, the Witcher sign associated with manipulating minds, is oftentimes hated by the game's players as it forces them to waste their skill points on it to obtain new dialogue options without offering any apparent combat benefits. The thing though is that Axii is very effective in combat, you just have to build it up a little. Purchasing some upgrades can extend Axii's mind powers to your enemies, allowing you to either disable them from combat or make them fight on your side. With the right perks, no battlefield will ever pose a challenge, as you'll have full control over who gets to participate in the fight and on what terms. Best of all, you don't even have to be a skilled combatant yourself, as Axii will make others win your fights for you. It's like a Jedi mind trick, but better.